had a comment request for a video, which was an interesting topic, not an easy one. Good question, good comment about how to break bad habits. And as examples of bad habits, he listed negative thinking, uh, watching porn, just negative bad habits in general. Yeah, could be anything from eating bad foods, drinking, smoking, anything. And if I remember his message correctly, anything that you do that feels good at the time, but then you feel miserable afterwards. Okay, I think all of us can quickly identify and relate to this. Well, I can only tell you how I have approached that and how I have dealt with that in my life. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have completely mastered this because there's definitely some bad habits that I still maintain, but I'm okay with them. The thing is, like, remember, balance is important. So you don't need to be 100% perfect, but it's important to have this under control. And I thank God, I knock wood that, it took me a while, long time, but it's something that I'm not so worried about. I have built the strength to keep this under control. And basically, that's what it is. This is a this is something that you want to. If first of all, you have to want to get better. All right, you have to want to break these negative habits. And this person asking the question, that's already an indication, a sign that he's interested in, he's identified that this is a big enough issue that he needs to start to approach. All right. And so the first and most important thing of all, if you want to break a negative habit that is making you feel like crap, is you have to want it enough. You have to want to break this habit enough. All right. Normally, we're going to want it when we are becoming so miserable and we're suffering so much because of this negative habit. And when we suffer enough, then we'll really turn on and wake up and be like, don't want to do this anymore. It's ruining my life. It's ruining my relationship, my work. Okay? So, in fact, what we're actually talking about here is addictions. So, negative habits and addictions kind of like, can kind of walk hand in hand together. And the definition of an addiction in my mind is when something starts controlling you to the point where it starts to ruin your life and dominate your life. Okay? So negative habits as well, yeah? It's like controlling, dominating your life for the worse. Okay? You are not able to control it. So let's dive right into this. There's two battle fronts on this that you need to, if you want to fix this, if you are serious about this, there's two battle fronts that you've got to think about. The indirect battlefront and then the direct battlefront. Let's talk about the indirect one first because there's one tool that you're going to need in order to break bad habits, negative habits. And that tool that you're going to need is to strengthen your discipline muscle. Okay? Because it requires discipline, it requires some self control, it requires focus. All right, so very quickly going to run through how to develop your discipline muscle. Okay? And it is basically when you decide to uh, there's two ways to do this, and you can take notes here. The first way is by you taking the initiative and doing something that you maybe don't want to do or doing something difficult, but you taking the initiative. So it's not going to like happen to you. You're not going to wait for this to happen to you, you're going to take the initiative and say, right, I'm going to do a 1 minute meditation right now. Okay? Or I'm going to cut out something bad from my diet, you know? Or, I'm going to read 2 pages of my book every day or whatever. Yeah. So as you can see, the list of things that you can use to strengthen your discipline muscles is pretty long. It's thousands of different things, which is great, yeah? So you've got to find what's going to work for you. For me, like what really worked was changing my diet. It was not easy, yeah? I love and I loved food, eating anything I wanted to, especially like cold bottles of Coke. Loved that. Ice creams every day. I was very overweight. But and this was not easy for me, but I had that want. I realized this is not going to be good for my life. I need to wake up. I need to do this. So I had that first thing that I mentioned in my video, which was enough of a desire to want to make my life better. Okay, and when I had that enough want, then I started to approach uh, building discipline in my life by in ways that I could do it. I didn't dive right in and do like 1 hour meditating or go on a strict diet. You know, and this is something very important I want everyone out there to know is that if you're going to do something difficult like that, like I'm going to cut out, I'm going to quit porn, or I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to quit drinking, the chances are that you'll probably be able to do that for a week or 2 weeks, and then you're going to like relapse again like crazy. So for me, that kind of stuff doesn't work. I need to sort of like go into it more slowly, more like step by step. So with my diet, for example, I stopped drinking, Cokes. Yeah, that was the first thing. And then, over time I'll add, then I'll, until like eventually over time you start to really improve your, it starts with Coke, goes on with bread, pizza, pasta, So for me, it was just once I was able to do one, then I would add another one. Once I was able to do another, then I would add more and more and more. So, step by step, um, feed it. Do this like in a way that you can do it. All right. Which leads me to something very important here, which is building discipline is all about setting goals that you can actually reach and accomplish. Very important that you're able to accomplish your goals. And it doesn't matter how small your goals are. They can be tiny. It can be like, I'm going to read 1 page of a book today. It can be, I'm going to do 10 push-ups right now. That was one thing that I started doing. I started doing push-ups every day. I started doing meditating every day. Whatever it is, just you've got to accomplish it. Okay, that's very important. So I'll leave it up to you guys. You've got to figure it out. Write a list of things that you feel will build discipline for you. Things that you may not necessarily want to do, but are good for you. And then start doing it. And like I said, don't get it too excited and be like, I'm going to do a lot. No, because you'll do a lot maybe for a week or 2 weeks, and then you'll like just be like, fuck this shit. This is boring. I can't do it. It's too difficult. And then you're going to like completely give up on this. So just keep it simple for now. Pick something small and do it. All right. So going back again to what I'm talking about overall is the indirect method of dealing with breaking bad habits is you've got to build up your tools. And one of your tools is your discipline muscles. So what I'm talking about here is how to build your discipline muscles by doing things, taking the initiative and doing things, accomplishing little goals that you set out for yourself that are good for you. And they can be anything. All right? In some religions, they'll have fasting. Fasting is so powerful. because again, it's teaching you that discipline, to be strong, self-control. So it can be anything, all right? You can go out for a run every day. You can, play football, soccer, whatever it is. Just it's something that you've got to be like, normally you'll be lazy and you're like, I don't want to do it. But in this case, you can actually get off your butt and you're going to go do something. So discipline muscle, very important tool in this battle. So when I say you're going to take initiative and do something, the opposite of that is when it's too late and something's been thrown on you, and then you're going to try to be strong. By that I mean, like, if you go to like a party or something, or I don't know, birthday party, dinner party, and everyone's like maybe drinking, and you know you're going to be like, no, I'm going to try to be good here and not drink, or I'm going to be good here and not eat this or whatever. Yeah, so you don't want things to just like, surprise attack you, okay? Because it's going to be much more difficult. You want to be in control and say, right now, today, I'm not going to eat anything, blah, 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 or tomorrow, I'm not going to eat. All right, and along the way of your journey, of building discipline, I want you to be easy with yourself. So don't be so hard, realize no one's perfect, and there's going to be times where you're going to like maybe break and not stick to what your thing is. So it's okay, but um, be aware that every time you do something and you hit a goal, every time, no matter how small, if it's like, I'm going to meditate now for a minute, or I'm going to read a page of my book, or whatever, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Push-ups is so good. For me, it was so effective. And I increased the push-ups every time. So they went from 10, because that's all I could do at first. Then they went to 50. Now I'm at 100 push-ups. So, you build these things up over time. All right, so rather than being surprise attacked with things, you take the initiative and do it. So building your discipline muscle, very important. That's the indirect way of approaching, bad habits. Now, the direct method of dealing with bad habits that you have comes twofold. Okay? The first way is by obviously doing what the bad habit is less. Because anything we do more of becomes stronger in our life. What you put your attention on grows. So if I'm going to be watching porn and my attention is on porn, the more and more my attention is on porn, the stronger porn will be in my life. The more and more my attention is on cigarettes and smoking, the stronger smoking will become a part of my life. The more and more I put my attention on doing push-ups, the stronger that's going to be a part of my life. The more and more I put my attention on going to the gym, that will become. Anything can become addictive. When we're talking about negative bad habits like overthinking, negative thoughts, or breaking bad habits, watching too much porn, eating bad food, realize that every time you do one of those things, you are strengthening the presence of that thing in your life. So the more negative thinking you do, you're exercising negative thinking in your mind, right? So dealing with breaking bad habits directly, the first thing is you gotta stop doing it. All right, it seems pretty obvious. The cold turkey, I guess, method. You don't have to go cold turkey, but just doing it less, withdrawing. And here's the good news for us trying to break bad habits, is that it's like everything. You can train every single day, go to the gym every day, but then as soon as you stop going to the gym, just for 2 weeks, it's amazing how, like, things drop. You've got to keep going to the gym to maintain it. And it's the same thing with bad, bad habits. The reason why your bad habits are so strong in your life right now is because you're doing them all the time. You're doing them every day, so they're up here. But the good news is that as soon as you stop doing them, just like stopping going to the gym, it will get out of shape really quickly. It's because our minds are beautiful. Our minds are designed to adapt to our changing environment. And, scientists now, are talking about it. For the past few years, they've been talking about how it doesn't matter how old you are. At any age, even if you're in your 70s, the mind is able to, can't remember, there's a word for it, but um, the mind is able to be very fluid, very adaptable, and it can change very quickly to your environment. So as you stop doing the things that are bad habits, stop watching porn, reduce your porn, reduce the foods, whatever it is, yeah, reduce the negative thinking. And all my videos are about negative thinking, so just watch any of them, and there will be techniques of how to do that. Journaling, awareness is the most important thing of all. Being aware that you are thinking negatively, okay? Awareness is always very important. So the direct attack on breaking bad habits is reduce first the amount of time you're spending on these things, and it's going to have a huge, you're going to see huge effects there. But I don't believe that's enough. I believe that, for me at least, reducing my time and my attention spent on those things is very important. But then there's something else I need to be doing, which is when you reduce these things, there's this emptiness, right? We all know it, that is left behind, which is like, oh, I need, because you've conditioned yourself to be here, to be happy. This much porn, this much bad food, this much negative thinking every day. So your body and mind have gotten used to this. And you can get unhealthier and unhealthier by adding more porn, adding more negative thinking, adding more bad food. And then your appetite is bigger and bigger and bigger. So what we want to do is we want to shrink that stomach. We want to shrink that appetite. And the way you do it is first by doing less. But when you do less, there's going to be all this space that was there and it's still hungry, right? And we need to satisfy that space. And the way we do that is you have got to find alternatives. Alternative stimulants, because at the end of the day, these are all stimulants. Sex, porn, food, salty, delicious, tasty food, negative thinking, believe it or not, it stimulates you. It's exciting thoughts. It's dramatic. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Yeah? So all these things are stimulants. They stimulate you. All right? So you're going to have to find something else that's stimulating, but that's healthy. For me, it was jiu-jitsu, martial arts, music, riding around on my moped, I know not everyone can do that, but you can ride around your car. You've got to be smart, people. I'm not going to sit here and custom tailor it to every single one of it because we're all different. But you've got to write lists. Write a list of all the things that you think would be great replacements for porn. Instead of porn, I mean, for me, I started going on dates. Yeah, and I found that to be stimulating. Not necessarily with the mindset of like I'm gonna go and have sex and just hook up. No, I went into them with the mindset of like I'm just gonna like practice and I want that presence of that female presence around me. Okay, which is I think what we need from porn when we're watching porn. It's just having that sexual that opposite sex. Doesn't have to be, if you're female, it's going to be a guy, whatever. But we would need that sexual chemistry and that flirting and that attraction and that, yeah. So for going on dates, if you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that, porn's way easier. I understand, but for me, it wasn't easy also starting going on dates, but it's a good practice. You do it, you do it, you do it, and then you start getting better at it. It becomes fun. And, replacing porn with real sex, eventually when you start getting good at dating and, you can meet some. So anyway, yeah, so you're catching my drift. Might not be dating, it could be something else. Could be like watching, I don't know, movies. It could be, maybe perhaps something else that's not necessarily so good, but it's better than porn. Maybe video games. All right? Instead of porn, you can play video games. I don't know which is worse actually. So if a bad habit is playing too many video games, then you've got to think of something that's equally as stimulating and interesting, but healthier. Yeah. I really advise everyone to check out jiu-jitsu. It's such a fun sport. It's so healthy. It requires a lot of strategic thinking. It's just so much fun. But I understand everyone's different. So, right. So just a recap of this video. The way that I have approached breaking bad habits is, first of all, you've got to develop your strength. It's going to be very difficult if you don't have discipline. So figure out ways for you that work for you to develop your discipline, whether it's fasting, whether it's doing things that you don't want to do little by little every day, meditating, reading a book, whatever it is, doing push-ups, sit-ups, going to the gym. But the important thing here is to actually accomplish whatever goals you set, no matter how small. Because every time you accomplish them, you're going to feel confident, you're going to feel in control, and you're going to feel like you can do what you set your mind to do, which is the key here. All right, because when you come to this side, which is directly dealing with your bad habits, you're going to need the discipline. All right, it's going to help you a lot. So when you're here and you're dealing with your bad habits head on, when you feel the urge that you want to just watch some porn, at the end of the day, or eat something that you just know you shouldn't be eating, this is where your discipline is going to come in, and you're going to be like, no, I'm just going to skip this one time. I'm not going to do it. All right? And like I said, for me, sometimes I'm able to do that, but then it might not be enough, and I'm going to need my backup rocket thruster booster pack, red button that I'm going to push, which is that I'm going to need a replacement for that. So I had something that was stimulating before but was not healthy. I'm going to use some of my discipline to say no to it, but I'm also going to bring in my backup support, which is to do something that I find just as interesting but is healthy. All right, and it could be watching a movie, watching a documentary, eating some delicious, healthy food, which has been a lifesaver for me. Like, I prefer eating healthy food now, like roasting delicious, meats very slowly, or fish, or just eating vegetables, but like, in the right way. Um, there's so much healthy foods out there. There's so many healthy alternatives to all these bad habits we have. So that's it. I hope that helps. I hope there's something in there that helps. Discipline, find a healthy replacement, and reduce your time and attention on the negative things. That should help tremendously. All right? I mean, obviously I could go on and on. There's so many different ways, but those are just a few basic ones. I hope they help. Adios for now. Bye.